And so that's kind of the theory here. You know what I mean? Like our bodies want to look there, but it requires we turn our head. And that, I think, goes for cornering and everything else, because you want to, I think I have one. Let me go to that one right now while we're on the subject. I won't let you pick this one. Looking. Who took the MSF class at some point in their life? What did the person tell you? Probably every other statement to you.
Keep your head up.
Keep your head up and look. Keep your head up and look. It's a truth to riding. So take a look at this, and then we can have a little discussion about what your questions or comments there. Is there anything you're not doing or doing?
The way to, you also have to like look away sometimes.
Sure. Which way?
Well, when I first started out, you're in a corner and an oncoming car is coming the other lane, and everything's fine,
right,
but you like look at it.
Sure.
And if you look at it and don't look away, you know it's that target fixation thing.
Yeah, I mean.
You gotta,
with target fixation, can you look at things on the side of the road? Can you look at a watermelon stand on the side of the road?
Sure.
Sure you can. I mean, if I take a look at that watermelon stand, I mean, I'm not going to go plop right into it, but just remember,
if you look long enough,
if you look long enough, you'll drift, perhaps, that sort of thing. So, I mean, we have to look at our gauges. We have to look different places. But this is, these few things here, they'll always tell you, like in the MSF classes, they're always saying, keep your head up, look far ahead. Why is it in your best interest to look far up the road?
Because that's where you're going to be.
You're going to see problems ahead of time. Cornering, of course, we talked about slow maneuvers. Gauges, obviously, you don't want to be staring at your speedometer, but you ever found yourself kind of looking down too much at your speedometer? Sometimes, sometimes I find myself fixating too much on my speed through a small town, or, so try to make them quick. But then I put this one in here because in the MSF class we'll teach more about like emergency maneuvers, swerving, stops. But I wanted to take that out of my emergency card and put it here because, again, it's along the lines of looking, because where do you want to look in a tight spot? Your escape path, your salvation, because you don't want to just throw in the towel, and hit the thing you're trying to avoid or whatnot. Again, easier said than done right here. I'm trying to think of a situation in the news with someone who crashed in the emergency situation, but I can't remember.
John,
yeah.
Last week when we went on that ride to Warsaw,
yeah,
I was following Rod in the back, and we were staggered, and I'm on the white line. I'm on the
You're
inside.
In the right tire track.
Yeah. Don't I see some stupid piece of farm equipment that looks interesting, and I look, and I come back, and the next thing I know, I'm like this far from the shoulder, drifting that way.
Because you were looking.
Because I was looking, and all I can hear is Brian's voice in my back of my head going, look where you're going, not where... And you're going to go where you want to go. And it was one of those wake up and, oh my God.
Something that I would feel that maybe you're missing up here. Looking, you have to scan. You just can't look ahead.
Right.
You have to scan left to right, left to right, left to right, all the time.
Right.
And I look at every single driveway, every single intersection, every single car parked, back, frontwards as a danger. They are the danger, and I'm always scanning. I don't look. You look straight ahead, you're going to get like people drive down in Mendon area. One lady had hit 3 deer in 1 year. She's got tunnel vision.
Yeah.
She doesn't look anywhere but straight ahead. That's where you're going to get accidents.
I like to. I wanted to differentiate myself from MSF as much as possible. I value my certification with them. I don't want to be, have problems with them. Okay. So I actually called Ken Glazer, who's like this right-hand man down there for the MSF, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't violating copyrights, and to ask permission to use the C from the MSF organization. I teach driver ed. They use SIPD. It's like a 6-step thing. This is so much simpler, and it's basically what you're talking about right here. What's the S? Search. You want to gather information about the riding environment. You can say it 100,000 different ways. But what you're saying is, yes, what's the car park going to do? And you know, sometimes you can get downright overly, you know, you can overanalyze the situation you're riding into. Just yesterday I was riding, you know, in Riga, and there was just an intersection. They stop, I don't. And as I'm approaching it, I'm kind of looking to see, like, through houses, and you know, is there a car going to come through there just to give me another edge? But you could go crazy trying to gather information. But again, try to predict.
It becomes second nature after a while.
Exactly, because then you evaluate now. So you see that car. Could the car pull out? Could it stay there? Could someone open a door? Okay, and then of course execute. And one thing I'd like to say about the execute part is, if a car backed out of a driveway, what would you want to do? Stop or swerve around it. You might want to do that. But if you don't know how to, if you don't practice it, good luck. Because you're going to panic. So with the execute, yeah, everyone knows, oh, I'm in the left part of my lane, big truck coming towards me. I think I'll execute and just move to the right side of my lane. Piece of cake. Okay, not hard. But if you go to, we'll go to the emergencies real quick. You might want to swerve around something or stop, but if you don't practice these things, when the time comes, you're just not going to have the muscle memory. Can anyone think of a time recently where they had to do something like this? I mean, anyone this week or month have a problem? Sean, you're laughing.
I had a duck under a truck mirror.
Yeah?
Yeah. He swung wide on the turn. He had a big trailer and one of those huge mirrors. And I was coming up the other way, and I literally ducked down and it whizzed over top of my head. So
I almost got a turkey vulture in the face one day in Pennsylvania. So I had it.
Yep.
But think about that, right? Do you know how short you can stop your motorcycle in? Our group, our riding group, is taking the ARC with Ron. If we can get it, if that goes through this June, you'll find out. Because one of the exercises is taking your bike and swerving and stopping quickly. But anyone get a new bike recently? All right. You want to try to figure out how quickly you can stop that thing. If you had to, and make it muscle memory. I have a confession to make. 6 months after I started riding, I blew this. I locked the front wheel up on Mount Hope, went down, scratched myself up real good, thought I knew it all. Took the class, you know. I didn't practice these enough. And I thought I was going to hit a car that stopped in front of me, and I grabbed and over I went. I was on the ground before I even knew it. That's how quickly it happened. So you need to really practice these things, you know, so that you can execute. That makes sense? That makes sense? While we're on it, take a peek, and if there's anything you'd like me to add to, or yeah.
Just a question. When you're talking about following through on a turn and, you know, put your head in the direction of the turn, is it more a physical thing that you're creating the turn the bike is going to make, or is the bike making the turn based on how your body is being positioned by looking at it?
I don't really know how to answer that one. Is like, so if I'm making a curve this way, I'm going to look that way.
What's causing the turn to go through and more comfortable?
Yeah, I'm just,
it's pushing on the bar.
we go where we look when we walk, we go where we look when we drive, we just, our muscles, there's got to be some shortcut in our brain to those muscles that take you there, you know? And I don't know physiologically how that works. I will tell you this, we know practice makes better, right? We know that we can develop the thing better, so if we make a conscious effort to look, press, we're going to build that as a memory, muscle memory type thing. Just to give you an example of over obstacles, who practices this on a regular basis? Anybody? What do you practice going over? Your children? No, folks.
Dog.
I use, you know, like sometimes the pothole's a different color. They fill it in, it's a different color. Or I'm driving down a country road and I see a branch make a shadow. What I'll do is I'll pretend that's an object, and I'll do all these things right here. And I was riding to the coffee shop one night, and I was taking back roads, and honest to God, a possum or something came right out, and it was great. It was a beautiful thing. I just went right to my muscle memory, and I didn't hit it, but it was this side or this side of my front wheel. But I did the whole smash because I didn't have to really think too deeply about it. It was, I had practiced it. You know, now, could I have hit it and gone down and broke my leg? Sure. But I
You
felt
reduced
really,
the chances of it because you were already.
I felt really good about it
Unweighted the
because
front
my
end.
brain just processed it quicker, you know? So it's just something to think about.
How about if you go in a corner at a light and you're making a left or a right in that intersection, there's a tar strip, but you're doing, you know, like 12, 14 miles an hour. How do you approach that?
Yeah. At any speed, okay, so you're gonna get on a slippery surface, right? What's gonna happen?
Well, the back wheel's gonna.
It's gonna get your pucker moment going. It's not gonna, okay? Sure.
I'll never forget that.
But
No,
the
you
worst
don't.
thing you can do is make
when
a
it
sudden
happens, you'll
change.
think of me.
Great. Press
And it will.
hard. We were down, I'm trying to think who I was with. I was down in Steuben County, and I was with two other riders. One of them was this guy Dave, who's not here today, but and I remember going around this corner, and there it was, gravel right in the road. And I had really never experienced gravel in the road, full lean, you know, life is good. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is gonna get ugly. This is not gonna be pretty for a second. And I just didn't do anything. I stayed right where I was, and it was like, whoosh. But then it hooked right up again, and I motored right through. And it was one of those, yay! You know, it's like, I was able to do what I wanted to always do if I had that problem. Now, I could go out this weekend and be in the same situation and panic and blow it. You're never going to always nail it. Okay?
So how do you approach a tar strip?
A tar strip is the same thing. What's really scary is when there's like 50 of them, you know, because you're going to be all over the place. But my advice is try to avoid the tar strip, you know, if you can. Now, you know what's kind of awkward there? We pick a line through the corner. We didn't talk more about that here, but sometimes you have to alter how you enter the corner based on what you see for surface. So if I saw, you know, by the center line, a lot of tar, you know, I may have to slow more to get to the outside of the, you know, lane to make that corner, which sometimes I'll do when there's oncoming traffic in a corner. I won't take normal apex because I want to cushion a little more, you know what I mean?
If it's rainy and wet, if you can have room, you get the bike straightened up as soon as you can.
Yeah. So
Before, and then you brake.
exactly. Oh, well, that goes for a lot.
Even
of
if you
different
have to ride out a little bit, you
Yeah.
straighten it up if you possibly can.
You want to build in. I think a lot. You know, Keith Code will say you got $100 to spend. You know, you want to ride at $100 worth, or do you want to maybe you don't want to write a check you can't cash. So always ride a little bit below where you think you are, which most people think they're great. So you want to bring yourself back down to earth a little bit.